Hello, it's June 2022, and this video is inspired by some conversations that I've had with people over time and even recently. And it does kind of tie into a topic that I've talked about over the years in my older videos. And I just find it very interesting how, for example, someone would come across me through, for example, my videos or even written posts or comments, and they start to form an opinion about how it would be in real life. Now, one thing I have found is a lot of people mistaken confidence with arrogance, and that's solely on them, but I digress. And one thing that I've noticed when I've met people in real life, they say that I have, and I'm going to condense the comments into a single phrase for simplicity, that I have a very strong presence about me. And I've been told that when I walk into a room, people become very much aware that I've walked into a room. When I was younger, especially when I was in my training days and stuff, I could see that because I had the size and everything else, and I guess part of that would have been my character as well. And for the type of work that I did back then, it was a definite benefit. Now, even when I, for example, began practicing law as agent and going down that path in life, I suppose my physical presence also was a bonus to me in life. But I've never really thought about myself in that regards, having a strong presence. And people have said, especially when they see my videos, so I guess in my videos that really doesn't come across because you don't have the feel, the energy when you actually meet someone in person. That's why it's important that we as human beings don't disconnect physically from people, even just being, in presence, going to gatherings and stuff, because this is part of our existence. But again, I'm digressing. So I really find that interesting how people have said I have a very strong presence. Now, with what I've been going through over the years and stuff, and feeling low and having my low moments and stuff, that would take away from whatever presence people might feel from me. And I also found that I really have to make a conscious effort to tone down my physical presence depending on the situation, especially when I'm, for example, trying to find employment that doesn't reflect my education or career history, for example. And I really have to kind of keep my head down and so forth. But it's I just find it very interesting how when people actually meet me, and even when people haven't come across my content online, I've been told that I have a strong presence about me. So this is what people have said. It's worked for me throughout my endeavors with, for example, business and career paths and so forth. Not so much when I'm, for example, begging for water. And I've had people actually refuse giving me water. But I've done videos on that. And where this ties into the topic of videos that I've done in the past, I think there's one titled "When Betas Meet Omegas and Alphas," and how all that dynamic works. And it's interesting how in society we have overridden the genetic hierarchy, that presence that when we meet someone, we know, oh, okay, you either they're above your level, at your level, or below the level. And where we see this, for example, when it comes to procreation, to mate with someone, people tend to try to look for someone equal to or greater, and usually women equal to or greater. In today's society, we've overridden that genetic hierarchy, and we've even gone past to the point where we have, for example, betas and omega types. For example, obtaining various positions of authority. And then when they have to confront someone who's an alpha, they have that intimidation, that fear, or whatever that's inherent to them because they're dealing with someone who's has a greater presence, I suppose, and that causes a lot of problems, and that insecurity. And normally when someone is, say, for example, a beta, and they have to deal with someone that's an alpha, they tend to avoid it or take as a descriptive, a submissive position with them. But in today's world, when we have titles and job descriptions and stuff, they're forced to, and then there's a conflict. So I've talked about this extensively when it comes to beta and omega types having to deal with alpha types. And then you have, in reverse, you might have an alpha type having to deal with a beta type who's in a position of authority, and then them trying to dumb themselves down with their presence just to simply get through whatever it is that they need to get through. And then when you tie this into, for example, with just the event on May 4, 2013 in my situation, where I had to experience these two beta types, and it's quite possible that just my presence alone, just focusing on that event, triggered them. And they were also on a mission. Putting all that aside, I'm just simply looking at the type of characters that were involved in the May 4th, 2013 event, myself and the two former officers. And that probably didn't really help me having to deal with two beta types. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw this out there for what it's worth, inspired by, again, what people have said, and yeah, for whatever it's worth. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me all the time, when is it going to get easier? When you die.